Ever pondered the prospect of living forever? Just imagine it, the no expiration date, no final goodbyes. Sounds tempting, doesn't it? The very thought of immortality, the ability to live through centuries, experiencing the world's transformations, witnessing the rise and fall of civilizations, and being there to see how the future unfolds. It's like being handed a VIP pass to the grandest show in the universe, life itself. Now, if you're a fan of pop culture, you're probably envisioning a Twilight-esque existence with all the vampire drama and werewolf showdowns. Or maybe you're seeing yourself as Wolverine with those gnarly adamantium claws and healing factor. But hey, let's not forget about the infamous Groundhog Day scenario, where you're stuck in a time loop, reliving the same day over and over again. Talk about a real-life nightmare, right? But what if we strip down the fantasy elements and look at immortality in its raw form? No vampire fangs, no superhero powers, just plain old you living forever. How would that feel? Think about it. You'd have all the time in the world on your hands. Finally, you could binge watch every series on Netflix without worrying about wasting precious hours. You could read every book in the world, learn every language, master every skill. You'd be the ultimate Jack or Jill of all trades and master of them too. It sounds like a dream, doesn't it? But hold on to your horses, folks. Before you start drafting your eternal bucket list, thinking about all the ice cream flavors you could taste, or the number of times you could rewatch your favorite sitcom, let's take a moment to pause and reflect. Immortality, as rosy as it may sound, isn't all rainbows and butterflies. So, buckle up and prepare for a deep dive into the reality of what living forever could truly entail. But before you start drafting your eternal bucket list, let's dive into what immortality could really look like, shall we? Imagine waking up to a world where time is no longer the boss of you. Exciting, isn't it? In this ceaseless existence, you could be the eternal student, forever expanding your knowledge. You could master every language, unravel the mysteries of the universe, and even finally understand how your smartphone actually works. And just think of the books. You could read every novel, every biography, every cookbook that was ever written, and not to mention the endless Netflix binges. Imagine witnessing the turning of ages, the rise and fall of civilizations, the evolution of technology. You could see flying cars become a reality, or maybe even teleportation. Oh, and you could finally prove that one friend wrong who said, "Bet you won't be around when they finally make a decent sequel to that movie." Now, let's talk risks. Skydiving without a parachute? Bring it on. Swimming with sharks? Child's play. With immortality, you could take on the wildest adventures without the fear of kicking the bucket. You could be the ultimate daredevil, or perhaps the ultimate fool, but hey, who's keeping score? And here's a funny thought. Immortality could mean never having to pay life insurance. Imagine the look on the insurance agent's face when you tell them you're an immortal. Sorry, but I don't think I'll be needing that policy after all. But immortality isn't just about the endless adventures and the unlimited knowledge. It's about the relationships, the people. You could see generations of your family tree flourish and grow. You could be there for your great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren. You could tell them stories of a world they could only dream of. But as with everything in life, immortality isn't all rainbows and sunshine. There are shadows lurking in this eternal existence, and we'll delve into those in the next segment. After all, what's an immortal life without a bit of drama, right? So, you've lived a few centuries, seen a few things, and now what? Boredom strikes, maybe? Immortality, the gift that keeps on giving, literally. You've seen empires rise and fall, watched the seasons change a few thousand times, and probably tried every flavor of ice cream known to humankind. But let's not forget, every rose has its thorns, and immortality, my friends, is no exception. Let's start with the big one, shall we? The heartache of outliving everyone you've ever loved. Imagine watching your friends, your family, your pets, even your favorite potted plant, all wither away while you stay the same. It's like being stuck in a never-ending episode of a soap opera, but without any commercial breaks for relief. And then there's the boredom. Oh, the boredom. You think you're bored now? Try living for a millennium. You've read all the books, seen all the movies, learned all the TikTok dances. You've tried every hobby, from knitting to skydiving, and you're still left twiddling your thumbs. You might find yourself longing for the good old days when life was fleeting and every moment counted. And don't even get me started on the burden of witnessing the world's problems repeatedly. Climate change, war, social injustices, reality television. It's a lot to handle once, let alone over and over again. It's like being forced to watch the same bad movie on repeat. But you can't leave the theater. But hey, at least there's one constant in your endless existence: taxes. That's right, death and taxes are no longer the only two certainties in life. It's just you and taxes now, baby. An eternity of paperwork and number crunching. Now, isn't that a delightful thought? So, maybe forever isn't as rosy as it sounds. But what about the big picture? How would society react? Scene script. Picture this. The government discovers your little secret. You're immortal. How would they react? Now, you might think you'd be whisked away in a black van to a secret underground facility faster than you can say, "forever young." And maybe, just maybe, you wouldn't be too far off. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Our society loves to put things in boxes, categorize and label. So, an immortal? That's one heck of a round peg for our square holes. Would you be seen as a threat or a miracle? A blessing or a curse? On one hand, you might be hailed as the next big thing, since sliced bread. News outlets would scramble to get the first interview. The world would watch in awe as you recount tales from the last 5 centuries. Imagine the look on their faces when you casually drop, "Oh, I remember when Shakespeare was just a struggling playwright." But on the flip side, you could be seen as a menace, an anomaly that needs to be controlled. Governments might scramble to study you to understand what makes you tick. They might even try to replicate your immortality, or worse, exploit it. And let's be real, some stiff in a suit would probably be more interested in your anti-aging secrets than your centuries of wisdom. Forget the meaning of life, they'd say. How do you still have a full head of hair after 500 years? But as the saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility. Being immortal isn't just about living through centuries, it's about navigating a world that may not be ready for you. It's about keeping your head, even when everyone else is losing theirs, quite literally. Yet, let's not forget, you'd have all the time in the world to figure it out. So why not sit back, enjoy the ride, and maybe mess with a few historians along the way? But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. So, you've got eternity in your hands. What's the moral thing to do? It's one thing to fantasize about immortality, but it's another to grapple with its moral implications. Imagine having an infinite timeline ahead of you. Would you use this endless expanse of time for the greater good? Or would the allure of unchecked power lead you astray? You could spend centuries acquiring knowledge, honing skills, and contributing to society. You could become the world's greatest scientist, artist, or philosopher. But what's to stop you from exploiting your immortality for selfish gains? After all, you'd be untouchable, invincible. However, remember that with great power comes great responsibility. The moral compass within you should guide your actions even if death no longer looms over you. So, the question here isn't just about living forever. It's about how you'd live that forever, how you'd use that power. Would you uphold the pillars of morality or crumble under the weight of your own immortality? Immortality, then, isn't just about living forever. It's a question of how you'd live that forever. So, after all that, would you still want to live forever? Let's recap. On the one hand, we've got the tantalizing prospect of infinite time. Imagine the books you could read, the places you could see, the skills you could master. You could become the greatest artist, scientist, or chef the world has ever seen. On the flip side, there's the potential for loneliness, outliving everyone you care about. And let's not forget about the risk of getting on the wrong side of the government, or other less than scrupulous folks who might want to exploit your immortality. It's a hefty conundrum, isn't it? But hey, that's what makes it such a juicy topic, so put on your thinking cap and ponder. What would you do if you found yourself holding the golden ticket to eternity? And hey, while we can't promise you immortality, we can guarantee more thought-provoking content. So, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and let's keep the conversation going.